Disclaimer: this audio recording includes subtitles so you can follow along more intentionally and absorb the ideas at your own pace. Have you ever wondered why we act the way we do? Why do our desires sometimes clash with our sense of right and wrong? Welcome to today's video, where we dive into Sigmund Freud's groundbreaking book, The Ego and the ID, published in 1923. This work revolutionized psychology by introducing the ID, ego, and superego, the three forces shaping our thoughts and behaviors. In this video, we'll break down this complex book into 6 clear parts, making Freud's ideas accessible to everyone. Whether you're a student or just curious about the human mind, stick around to discover the secrets of your psyche. Don't forget to subscribe, Soak-Minded, and hit the bell icon for more insightful content. Let's get started. Segment 1. Freud's Legacy and the Ego and the ID. A new model of the mind. Sigmund Freud, often called the father of psychoanalysis, transformed our understanding of the human mind. By 1923, when he published The Ego and the ID, Freud had already introduced concepts like the unconscious and repression. However, this book marked a pivotal shift, presenting his structural model of the psyche, the ID, ego, and superego. Unlike his earlier framework, which focused on conscious and unconscious layers, this model explores how these three components interact to shape our personality and behavior. Written in the aftermath of World War I, and during Freud's personal battle with illness, The Ego and the ID reflects his deep insights into human instincts, including the life and death drives. This book remains a cornerstone of psychology. Let's begin by exploring the first component, the ID, the source of our deepest desires. Segment 2. The ID, the source of instincts. ID, the drive for instant gratification. The ID is the most primal part of our psyche, operating entirely in the unconscious. Freud describes it as a reservoir of instinctual energy, driven by the pleasure principle, the urge to seek immediate gratification. The ID houses our basic instincts, such as hunger, aggression, and sexual desire, which Freud categorized into 2 drives: eros, the life instinct, and thanatos, the death instinct. Present from birth, the ID is chaotic, illogical, and unaware of time or reality. For example, when you feel an overwhelming urge to eat or act impulsively, that's the ID at work. However, the ID cannot interact directly with the world, relying on another part of the mind to channel its demands. This brings us to the ego, the rational force that keeps the ID in check. Let's explore its role next. Segment 3. The Ego, the rational mediator. Ego, the mind's decision-maker. The ego is the psyche's rational component, emerging from the ID during early development. Guided by the reality principle, the ego balances the ID's impulsive desires with the demands of the external world. Think of the ego as a mediator. While the ID might demand instant gratification, like eating a snack right now, the ego considers practical constraints, such as availability or consequences. Operating in both the conscious and preconscious mind, the ego uses logic and planning to navigate life's challenges. It also employs defense mechanisms, like repression or denial, to manage anxiety caused by conflicting desires. However, the ego's task is far from simple, as it must also contend with another force, the superego, the moral compass of the psyche. Let's examine how the superego shapes our behavior. Segment 4. The superego, the moral authority. Superego, your inner conscience. The superego is the psyche's moral authority, developing through socialization, particularly during childhood. Formed around age 5, often through the resolution of the Oedipus complex, the superego internalizes societal and parental values. It consists of 2 parts, the ego ideal, which sets aspirational standards, and the conscience, which punishes violations with guilt or shame. For instance, if you feel guilty after a minor mistake, that's the superego at work. Operating partly in the conscious and largely in the unconscious, the superego strives to enforce moral behavior, often clashing with the ID's desires. However, an overly strict superego can lead to excessive guilt, contributing to psychological distress. The interplay between the ID, ego, and superego creates the fascinating dynamics Freud explores. Let's now look at how these forces interact. Segment 5. The dynamic conflict, ID, ego, and superego. The psyche's internal battle. The heart of the ego and the ID lies in the dynamic conflict between the ID, ego, and superego. The ID's instinctual desires, seeking instant gratification, often clash with the superego's moral standards, which demand adherence to societal norms. The ego, caught in the middle, must mediate these opposing forces to maintain psychological balance. This conflict largely occurs in the unconscious, manifesting in dreams, slips of the tongue, or even neurotic symptoms. For example, a desire for indulgence, ID, may be suppressed by guilt, superego, leaving the ego to find a compromise. Freud's insights reveal how unresolved conflicts can lead to mental health challenges, such as anxiety or depression. By understanding these interactions, we gain clarity on why we behave the way we do. Let's now explore the lasting impact of Freud's work. Segment 6. The legacy of the ego and the ID. Freud's enduring impact. Why does the ego and the ID remain relevant today? Freud's structural model of the psyche provided a framework that transformed psychology, influencing therapies and research for decades. The concepts of ID, ego, and superego help explain human motivation, conflict, and personality development. While some of Freud's ideas, like the death instinct, are debated, his emphasis on internal conflicts resonates in modern approaches, such as cognitive behavioral therapy. Beyond psychology, Freud's theories have shaped literature, film, and cultural studies, offering timeless insights into the human condition. The ego and the ID reminds us that our mind is a complex interplay of desires, reason, and morality. By understanding these forces, we can better navigate our thoughts and behaviors. What's your take on Freud's ideas? Share in the comments below. That's a wrap on our journey through Freud's The Ego and the ID. We hope this video helped you understand the fascinating dynamics of the human mind. If you enjoyed this content, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell icon to stay updated on future videos. Want to explore more psychology topics or have questions about Freud? Drop them in the comments below. We'd love to hear from you. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Keep exploring the mind.